Shabbat Shalom. This week's parasha is a double header called Tazria Metzora. Parshat Tazria Metzora speaks about a condition known as Tzaraat. Tzaraat is generally translated as a leprosy, but this is not exactly accurate. It was skin lesions that appeared on the body of a person, or their clothes, or even the walls of their house. And it was when this happened that the person would call the Kohen and ask him to check whether he or she had this condition known as Tzaraat. The Kohen would arrive and would determine by the size of the lesions, yes, you are tamei, impure, or no, you are still tahor, pure. If the person was tamei, the Torah describes what would happen next. The person was to exclude themselves, sit in isolation for a week, be checked again, and if they had spread, another week, until the lesions had condition had subsided. And then there was a huge and very complex ritual of purification, including the bringing of sacrifices, going to the mikveh, and shaving. The rabbis in the Talmud debate what caused the lesions. And they focused on the word Metzorah. The word Metzorah could be a condensing of two words, Motzi Shem Ra, or Motzi Ra, that this person has sprouted evil. And they say that the reason for the punishment of these lesions was because of the sin of Lashon Harah, of speaking bad about another person. Before I continue, I would just like to play a little game with you. I want to ask you a question. What do you see in this picture? So I'm sure you will say to me, well, we see a purple dot on a white screen. And if I ask you how big is this purple dot relative to the white screen, you'll say it fills up quite a bit of space. But is that the reality? When I hold the page further away from the camera, the little dot is still there. But relative to the white piece of paper, it is quite small. The problem is, as I hold this piece of paper up, and I ask you what you see on my page, your eyes are drawn to the dots, to the exclusion of the rest of the page, the white page. And this is the effect of Lashon Harah. When a person speaks Lashon Harah, or gossip, or maligns and speaks maliciously about another person, what they're saying may indeed be correct, or may be true, but it is to the exclusion of everything else about that person. It colors your perspective of that person negatively. If we look at the page again, when I held the page in front of you, the camera, the dot looked very big, almost consuming the entire screen of the camera. But in reality, it's rather small. The challenge of what happens with Tzaraat, what happens with Lashon Harah, is that when a person speaks it, it highlights only the negative about a person to the exclusion of anything else that they do. Your mind is drawn to that one bad spot, that one negative moment. And it can destroy friendships, reputations, careers. When this happened, in the days gone by, on the person would appear these lesions, dots. And the Kohen would say, you spoke Lashon Harah. And because you've spoken Lashon Harah, you have painted a mark on another person's face that everyone can see, and no one wants to talk to them, no one wants to engage with them, and thus, says the Torah, that is your punishment too. Out of here. You cannot be part of our community. Sit outside, reflect upon what you've done as penitence and as part of the tshuva process. Today, we do not have Tzaraat. These conditions do not appear on the skin. They are not a result of Lashon Harah. But nevertheless, the message is still very, very clear. We have to be so careful about what we say. The rabbis describe the power of the tongue. Chaim u'mavet b'lashon. Life and death are on your tongue. A word said can uplift or can destroy another person. One has to be so careful about how one uses their lips, teeth, and tongue. Lashon Harah is one of the great sins of the of humanity. About 100 years ago, there was a Jewish sage known as the Chofetz Chaim, Rabbi Israel Meir Kagan, who wrote a book about Lashon Harah, the laws regarding gossiping. And when the book came out, people said to him, "Now we are not going to be able to talk because of your book." To which he responded, he says, "Now you're able to talk because now you know the laws about what is permissible and what is forbidden speech." So how should I know, what test can I make to determine whether what I'm about to say now is Lashon Harah or not? If someone asks me my opinion about going on a date, or getting involved in a business deal, or whether I should send my child to a particular school, can I say or not? Here is the simple test. Ask yourself the question, who benefits from what I have to say? And if the answer is, it will make me feel good, that's Lashon Harah. But if the answer is, it is to the benefit of another person because of a care about another person, then under certain circumstances, you're allowed to say it. Parashat Tazria Metzora tells us that this leprous condition first starts on the walls of the house. And then if the person didn't pay attention, it started appearing on their clothes. And if they still didn't pay attention, it started appearing on them, on the skin itself. The Torah understood that guarding one's tongue is certainly difficult. And thus, the Torah, Hashem gives us warnings. We do not live in a generation that has Tzaraat. We do not have the Metzorah. But we can learn from these parashiot about the effects of Lashon Harah, not only on the one who it is spoken about, but the one who speaks it. And may we be careful and guard our tongues. Shabbat Shalom.